Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Audible, Podchaser, JioSan, T-Live, Rumble, and more, because this is a show about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, no K words at all, no Kanye talk, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. But why not 100% of the time, Dr. Marissa? Because if you're happy all the time, you're dead. We need the contrast. So that's why I say 88%. And 8 is a lucky number in Chinese. It's a homophone for good fortune. I know you thought I was Swedish, but I want you to have Chinese and all heritages, double good fortune, and you to claim that birthright. There's too many sad, anxious, worried, fearful, concerned, angry, volatile, resentful, envious, not happy people around. And yes, but Dr. Marissa, there's so much to be unhappy about, and you've got your head in the sand or the clouds, and we have to get angry, we have to get mad to make things change. And actually, that's a BS. That's a belief system that keeps you stuck in this really heavy, negative, vibrating place where it'll take you down. Not just mentally and emotionally, it'll take you down physically. It impacts your immune system. The medical schools are really clear, and it is still medical science, and there's nothing wrong with it. And it's helped us for, hundreds of years. Just because you would disagree with vaccines and masks doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater. So let's really exercise our ability to soothe ourselves, buoy ourselves up. We're naturally corks that float in the ocean of life, in the ocean of abundance. And that's why I do this show, because I want to balance out all the bad news that's so easily accessible out there with some good news. Okay, so that was, I just had a sip of coffee, can you tell? And I have a packed show for you today. It is Thursday, Caller Compliments and Commercial Day, where I answer a question of the day. And today's question is, do relationships have to be that hard? Or how do you have a hard relationship? I'm just kidding. Pun intended, not intended. But seriously, the question that has come in actually 4 or 5 times this week is, people are starting to peak out of the pandemic. Those of us who are happily single or maybe unhappily single are looking at getting back into the dating game. And also those who have had those relationships that started at the beginning of the pandemic and got real serious real fast, maybe asking the question, how difficult does this need to be? You got a crash course in relationships. Do I go the way of Ariana Grande, or do I look at, did I actually catch something good during the pandemic and instead of the COVID virus? So that's the question we're going to answer today. And if you have a commercial for your product or service, or if you have a compliment that you want to pay someone on the air, then please do come watch and listen on YouTube and Facebook, and you can chat and I'll put your comments up, or you can just listen, as you probably are. A lot of you are driving on the way to work in the IE on AM 1050 or FM 102.3 605, and don't chat. Drive. Keep your eyes on the road. So one more thing is, today is a big Asian Oprah giveaway ticket day because I'm sure everybody in America, I don't care what age you are, and I just tested it out, my younger engineer, Sam, and I've talked to a bunch of, I think Polly said he knew who this is, and my daughters even have heard. Bye, bye, Miss American Pie, drove my Chevy to the levee. And then I'm going to get copyright strikes if I go on any further. Maybe if I sang it off key, that might help. But Don McLean is in concert. Yes, he's still performing. He's still doing stuff. He has a great foundation charity that he fundraises with. He's going to be at the Saban Theater on July 1st, which is tomorrow. So if you would like 2 tickets to that show in Beverly Hills, then you will want to stay tuned in, because at the end of this show, I will tell you how to win those 2 tickets to the Saban Theater and to hear and see Don McLean. I had forgotten that he also, Vincent is a beautiful song, if you haven't heard that song, and several more. And there was this big controversy on, I guess apparently they've dissected all the lyrics to American Pie. And if we have time, we'll go through that to see the significance of it. But I'm sure he'll talk about it when he does his concert. And so stay tuned. And thank you to the Saban Theater. That is another year of support. Actually, I want to support them because they took a huge hit during the pandemic, as the artist did too. So if you don't win the tickets, please still go, and I'll see you at the show. That's at the Saban Theater, July 1st. You can go to the sabantheater.org for tickets to a lot of different things, and including the Temptations are coming in January. You keep it here as well, and I'll be giving tickets to Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Cheech and Chong, and I do have 2 tickets to someone in Agora Hills. I'll bring that back to you. Dana, shout out to Dana, the director of Where Music Meets the Soul, that puts all these productions on. He generously gave me 2 tickets to something else that I'm going to have to look up because I wasn't familiar with the name, but I'm sure they're fabulous. All right. And you know the drill. You have breakfast with me in the morning. It's called Take a Bite of My Gratitude Sandwich. And my favorite gratitude partner is my sound engineer, Sam, who joins me on Thursdays. Sometimes he gives me a bonus on Tuesdays and does gratitudes with me. Please welcome to my studio, or back to my studio, Sam Works. You cannot not say no when I give you applause. I know it. And you can start with a commercial. You have a show what time? When?
It's on the show Sunday night at 7 o'clock with Sam Works and College. However, this weekend, I will not be doing a show. It is this weekend. And it's up to tune in. We'll be doing reruns of some of our shows.
Sounds fantastic. When did you get a co-host?
Well, I've always had a co-host.
Oh, I didn't know that. So
I never thought I could do a show without
Oh,
one.
isn't that interesting? Because for the first time, I am entertaining the idea of having regular guest co-hosts. Yeah, so I'm having a competition. Huh?
I said, after how many years?
9 years. I know. It was funny. I was at my mom and dad's yesterday. He's 92. My bonus mom and dad. She is 89, and they're still like ticking. And Dad and I are writing a song called "I Love You, Siri," and it's 88% done. Can't wait to unveil it here. But I was, after a full day, preparing for this show today again, and the thought crossed my mind, well, they say that I can do a rerun, and I haven't done very many reruns, only when I have to, which is like less than 2% of the time in the 9 years. And You know, I don't know if it's just feeling like it's funny because Polly goes, "You're the only person I know that can run an entire hour show without needing a co-host or a guest." And I appreciate the compliment. And at the same time, I'm just like, you know, it would be kind of fun. I may change my mind, but I thought I would have a competition around it because you know me, I love, you know, it's not whether you win or lose, it's whether I win or lose. And I love competitions. So I'm putting together a competition for a co-host. So remember, I don't know if you were you had been hired yet, but I ran this competition called The Host, like The Voice, right? And we had winners and they had shows, and we had Kenny Barnell. He did a series of shows, and I'm gonna blank. Oh shoot. She's beautiful. She used to have a crystal store. Oh, she was on for a while. I so apologize. She's gonna kill me. It'll come. She had a show, and we're still gonna schedule the second season of the host competition. Jaquetta Green, she's gonna have some shows. And I thought, you know what? Let's do a show called The Co-Host, or a competition called The Co-Host. So you actually would be a good candidate. And what we would do is do an entire show, and that person would be the co-host with me. And then after we finish it, we would put it on my YouTube channel as a vote platform and have people vote. And you could solicit votes, you know, you could share it and say, you know, and that would, I would have a winner for a co-host, like a regular once a week co-host on a certain day. You know, maybe Wednesdays is what I'm thinking. So I still anchor Monday and Friday. Fridays have usually been my guest, and then Wednesday would be the co-host. Isn't that a good idea?
Fantastic idea.
Yeah. So I'm putting that together now, and I think I've already gotten one a person. Go to drmarissa.life. If this sounds interesting to you and you're listening and I see your eyeballs, and please do check in so I know who's watching and giving me all those fingers, thumbs up, then go to drmarissa.life and put in the subject line on the homepage, the Choose Happiness page, co-host competition. And then I'll know and enter you into that, and then give you the instructions. And we'll get that scheduled. That'll be next month. So I'm going to put you down whether you want it or not, because I think you would be a good co-host. You've sort of been a, you know, an official one on Thursdays for sure.
Thursdays for sure.
Yeah. All right. So gratitude sandwich, breakfast with Dr. Marissa. Sam Works, what are you grateful for this morning?
This morning, I'm grateful for shoes.
This morning, I'm grateful for sandals that don't make my broken toes hurt, but they're ugly as sin, but they make my feet feel okay. That was a half gratitude. I don't get a real one on that. Okay. Number 2, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for the sunshine.
And I'm grateful for the marine layer that makes it look like outside my window, it's heaven.
Like that. I am grateful for my alarm clock. I would be late all the time for your show.
Wonderful. I'm grateful to the alarm clock too. I'm grateful for my smartphone. It does so much. I can't believe how easy life has become. And I just love my smartphone.
And then
Last one.
I'm grateful for fast food drive-thrus.
What drive-thrus?
Like fast food, no, drive-thru.
Oh, fast food drive-thrus.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Great. You're hungry. You don't want to cook.
I'm laughing even more because obviously fast food was not part of my growing up and my daughter's growing up. And I've only been to 2 drive-throughs, and both of them I am so unfamiliar that I drove right past the window. The first time I drove right past the pay window. The second time I drove right past the pickup window, and people were running after me like, your food. And so it doesn't surprise me that I did not understand your gratitude because it's not part of my vocabulary. That is so, wait till I tell my daughters, they will have a good laugh on that one. Okay, so, and my last gratitude, because we do 8 between the 2 of us, is I'm grateful for all the amazing stops that I've had on this thing called life, this joyride of life. And I was just remembering, because I'm driving down today to along the coast, which I love, to go to be a VIP guest at the Doors of Change fundraiser, and Three Dog Night is performing. And I love that drive down the coast. And I always stop at Solano Beach. People ask me all the time, where do you buy your clothes, Dr. Marissa? And it's 3 S's: San Francisco, Solano Beach, and Sedona. So I'm stopping in Solano Beach today. And the last time I was in Solano Beach, it was my birthday. It was hashtag BC19, the time before COVID. And I went to the theater there to see Kevin Costner. He was in concert. And I don't know if you know who Kevin Costner is. You're young. Do you know who he is?
I don't know.
You guys are killing me. It was in The Bodyguard. Do you know the movie The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston? Oh my goodness gracious. He's one of the biggest actors, obviously not in your time. But those of you listening, please give me a thumbs up if you remember Kevin Costner. He's huge, huge, huge. He was actually, I think he was a guest presenter on the Oscars this year, I think. I know John Travolta was, and I interviewed him. So I know there's a bunch of people that I have been grateful to know. But anyways, he was performing. He's normally an actor, a huge actor. And if you Google him right now, you're going to be embarrassed that you said you didn't know him. Anyways, he found out I was in the audience and called me backstage, which was a huge honor. So that's how I met Kevin Costner. So that is a huge thing that I'm grateful for, is I've gotten to meet the most interesting, incredible people. All right. That's our gratitudes. The bottom of the bun is, what are 4 things that you appreciate about yourself? You've been great at starting, so I'm going to make you start.
Okay. I'm grateful for
Gratitude's on the top of the bun. What do you appreciate about yourself? What do you like about yourself is the bottom of the bun.
appreciate on how outgoing I am.
That's fabulous. And for those of you who didn't know there was a distinction between gratitude and appreciation, there is. It's so important for us to know how to affirm ourselves. Otherwise, we're looking for love in all the wrong places. If you don't think you're hot shiitake 88% of the time, if you don't think you're fabulous 88% of the time, you're going to fall into that trap of looking for likes, literally, or asking for approval from people usually who can't give it. So that's why we do the bottom of the bun, especially before you go to bed, so the critic doesn't take over. All right. I appreciate that I am creative.
Okay. I appreciate that I sometimes step out of my comfort zone.
Good. I appreciate that I did not set out to be an influencer, but have stepped into in a very, still being true to my brand on positive and balance, but appreciate that I acknowledge the label that has been given to me.
Can I fill that one?
Yeah, yes. You may. You may. We'll go backwards on the stealing. So that's your second or third one? I think that's your third one, right? Okay.
I got one more.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate the, you know, I appreciate how much I've realized how much I love my life.
Ooh, I gotta give that one an applause. You know, if people get nothing else from this show, that is the mission of my life, of my show, of all the platforms I get to speak on, of my writing, is that I want you to love your life. And the best line in my short film, PPP Post Pandemic Possibilities, is this guy who does a backflip and says, and I say, life does not suck. And I'm so adamant about it because it's true. It's so true. And I'm so grateful, Sam, that you get that. And I don't know, I won't take credit where credit's not due, but I truly hope that I had a little bit of inroads with you on that to support you in that BS, that belief system, because it is so important that every young person who is distracted by bad news out there, that is distracted by worst case scenario and the sky is falling and now we're gonna we're going to go backwards a million years in our evolution. That's not going to happen. We have so much positive force. Yeah, less, the blue states are less right now, but we have access to the power that created the world. All of us. This stuff is just temporary. This stuff is just, a marker that says we got to fix this. That's all it is. So please don't throw your life away in misery. How's that for a soapbox?
That was pretty deep.
Good. All right. And my last, I appreciate about myself that that I can cry and not apologize and feel all of my emotions fully. I just love that about myself. So there you go. That's Breakfast with Dr. Marissa and Sam Works. I beat you to the applause button. And thank you for playing along with me and having breakfast with me every morning on the show, unless I have a guest. And speaking of which, I have a fabulous guest tomorrow. And I think this is a good time to show the little video that I put together with him. Let's see if I can find it really quickly. Here it is. This is coming on tomorrow.
This is Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah, reporting live from the red carpet here at the beautiful Egyptian Theater. This is my favorite actor in the entire world. We've known each other all of your life, just about. And he gets to play a wonderful role in this movie. How the heck are you?
I'm amazing. Now, how are you? I love your dress.
And now you know why he's my favorite actor. So, let's see, Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, that was so fun.
Yeah. And what else are you doing?
Oh, well, I'm in the movie that's premiering tonight.
Wishman. And what was your favorite part about doing this movie?
Probably meeting the cast, having such a good time, knowing Frank personally, that and what he does, it just makes me tear up every time.
Yeah, he made me cry when I interviewed him. You know that?
Yeah.
All right, we got to let you go, so we'll do peace in and peace out. Remember that? Peace in, peace out. That's world peace through inner peace.
So Christian Gagne is my guest tomorrow. I love him to death, not to death. I love him to life. He just landed that role in Stranger Things, which is a really cool series on Netflix, and I had to watch it obviously because he's coming tomorrow morning. And right, I thought maybe I had to go in through a few episodes. He's on episode 1 and he's number 10. He's working across Matthew Modine, so he'll be on live in studio tomorrow morning at 8, right after the NBC News. And I'm so delighted. And we're going to have an entire conversation and catch up. And I just love that guy. And I'm so happy for him. You'll remember him from Subaru commercials. And he was on one of the soap operas. I forget. You'll find out tomorrow. So that's your little commercial to definitely tune in tomorrow live. You'll be able to ask him questions in the chat. So make sure you free subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can do that. Finally, before we go on break and then change the topic to relationships, I wanted to wish a very special, fabulous woman who is just a delight. And I've known her for many years, like 13 years. I met her at Agape International Spiritual Center, founded by my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith. Her name is Sherry Brown, and it's her birthday today. So happy birthday, dear Sherry. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Sherry. She's one of the few people I actually can travel with. We went to Vegas together many years ago, but it was so much fun. And she's such a positive light and just a beautiful person inside and out. So I just posted on her her birthday post that said, you can have your cake and eat it too. And it's a little baby that is eating a birthday cake. All right. And we're going to go to break right now. And when we come back, we're going to answer the question of the day. How hard, pun intended, do relationships have to be as we begin dating again after the pandemic? So keep it tuned here on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Welcome to Balanced Tai Chi Gong. My name is Dr. Marissa Pei. For the next 28 minutes, we will be slow dancing with the universe in a moving meditation that promotes inner peace, one breath at a time. Just follow the sound of my voice and move with me as I guide you through this ancient wisdom through New Thought practice. As a corporate psychologist, I created this practice in response to my life and those of my clients. We were professional, high achievement-oriented, multitasking control freaks and exhausted. No matter how many successes, it was never enough. That, coupled with a painful life experience, led me on a quest to find another way to live and back to my Chinese roots. If you practice regularly, I can promise you that it will impact all health vortexes. Body, mind, spirit, soul. You will be in a place of balance and inner peace the way we were created. 谢谢。
Be my partner.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube channel, where you can not just listen, but watch as well and comment, as it is live streaming, or as I like to call it, love streaming every morning, every weekday morning. And yes, it is a 1-year anniversary of me going from once a week to once every weekday morning. No thanks to my fabulous station owner, Fred Lundgren, who came to me and said, how would you like to be the morning host after Aaron retired from that spot on the time schedule? So I'm grateful to her and all of her timing. And I'm really grateful to all my listeners who are Stephanie Miller listeners who love her show. She's fabulous. And I come up right after her. And we did not lose listeners. So obviously I'm at least keeping the attention a little longer on the station that leaves no listener behind, which also celebrated its 20th anniversary. Lots of celebrations here. So welcome back. If you free subscribe on my YouTube channel, not only will you get an alert to tell you when a new show is dropping, you will also get access to my red carpet playlist, my recent interviews backstage with the Temptations. And she doesn't know this yet, but I'm going to ask my new friend, who is so sweet on my Instagram. She just blows up my Instagram and likes everything I post. Alon Carter Price. I'm going to ask her to be a guest and talk about what it's like to be the daughter of the founding member of the Temptation, Otis Williams. Maybe he will sneak in on the interview like she did with her son, Trace Austin, who's a magnificent young man who I got to interview. And she also got to meet my guest tomorrow. She posted that, Christian Garnier, which, small world. So I would love for her to come on and talk about what that was like. She shared a little bit on that interview. If you missed that interview with Trace Austin, that's on the YouTube channel as well as my short film called PPP, Post-Pandemic Possibilities. And you can see what I was talking to Sam about, that section that says life does not suck. So, okay, where were we? Oh, yes, relationships. The question of the day is, do relationships have to be that difficult or that hard? Pun intended. I have a little interview that I did on a news channel. Actually, it was for, what was it? Valentine's Day. And I know it's not Valentine's Day, but it kind of might feel like Valentine's Day because a lot of people have refrained from dating because of the pandemic and the safety, and kind of been in our own little huddles, and now are branching out. I know that I'm getting looks and invitations and phone numbers at a very rapid rate compared to during the pandemic. So I wanted to cover that question that also, is a huge area that can make your life happy or unhappy, are your romantic relationships. So let's take a listen to this.
All right, are you in a relationship that requires a lot of work and you're not sure if you want to continue with it? Well, this morning we're getting some tips from organizational psychologist and relationship expert, Dr. Marissa Pay. Good morning to you.
And good morning to you.
Now, you talk about this all the time. You have your very own talk radio.
I do. It's called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa.
I love that.
So everything I say, you have to take with a little bit of salt.
And you also answer to another name as well, which is?
Yes, well, on the air when I take calls, it's the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. Sorry. And the newest honorable monikers, because I have a lot of past Oprah guests on my show, as well as winning the Asian Entrepreneur of the Year award. So now they're calling me the Asian Oprah.
I love that, right?
It's very honorable title, yes, but it just means I have to give stuff away on the show.
Oh, not always a bad thing, though. You get some perks, you get some kickback. That's a good deal for everyone involved. All right, so let's talk about this. Relationships, they don't have to be, you have to work at them a little bit, but they don't have to be a lot of work, right?
Yes. No thanks to Cinderella. I think part of the problem is we come with an expectation that relationships are supposed to be easy, that we meet that special someone and we drive into the sunset with the happily ever after, and there is no happily ever after. If you're in a relationship that is 88% good, I use 88 because 8's a lucky number in Chinese, it's good fortune, then it's a relationship that you want to continue with. Nothing is perfect. Now, the other way relationships are difficult is your picker. So if you want a dog, don't buy a cat. So if you love to travel, you're allergic to smoke, and you don't like to stay home, then you don't want, and you're a neat freak, you don't want to pick someone who's a couch potato who smokes.
But you have to be a little flexible, right? A little malleable, so to say.
Yes.
Right? Because there isn't one person out there that's going to check off all of your boxes.
Correct. That's why it's the 88%.
88%.
Exactly. And if you're with someone that makes you miserable, so if they're driving you crazy, take away the keys. And you own your keys. So if you're looking for someone to complete you, thanks Jerry Maguire. If you're looking for someone to take your breath away, well, you might suffocate.
Yeah.
The most successful relationships I've seen are when two people really like themselves first. They enjoy being with themselves first, and then together they go into this dimension that you cannot get on your own.
Yeah.
So relationships, a good romantic relationship is something worth aspiring to and working towards.
And what's that saying? You have to love yourself before you can love someone else?
It is true. I know it's a real, it is very true.
You mentioned a couple movies, Jerry Maguire's Cinderella. Do you think that has ruined us, the rom-coms and the romance novels?
I think that it's made it a little more difficult to have a good relationship because we have that expectation.
Because we all want a Noah from the Notebook, right?
Exactly,
Where is he?
Exactly. Yeah, or someone to say, you complete me. But it is wonderful if you can know how to complete yourself first, and then not want to change the person that you're with more than 12%.
We're starting to run out of time, but I want to get to that list, crossing off all of your boxes. What things do you keep and what things do you throw away and say, okay, I have to overlook this. Even if that little habit bothers me, I have to get over it.
Right. If there's a connection, I think that's the most important thing. If you have a connection with someone and it's not easy to have that connection, then that's something that you have to keep foremost up there in the box. Usually relationships derail because you start seeing things you don't like, and then your focus goes to those things that you don't like. The power that we have in relationships is to choose. So if you know what your top three, choices is someone who is generous, or someone who is kind, or someone who is ambitious, then you keep those foremost. And if you find someone with those three foremost, then you might want to overlook some of the 12% that just doesn't work. But keeping that connection, knowing that we're supposed to have really good relationships, knowing that, it's kind of like the ABC Wild World of Sports where they used to say the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. That's a dimension of relationships that we all should be having in our life. Because there's no greater joy. It is absolutely possible.
You just have to put a little work into it.
Yes, you do.
But not a lot.
Exactly.
Right? Thank you so much for being here.
My blessing.
All right. Stay with us.
Thanks. Thanks for the notification. I'm talking to myself. The mic was off. I apologize. So I hear this all the time from my coaching clients. I don't know whether I should stay or go. Or I hear from people, relationships are so much work, or you have to really work at your relationships. And, I know a lot of single people who have had maybe a marriage, they're happily divorced like I am, who, don't want to necessarily put the work in that is required in a relationship. So it always begs to answer the question, how difficult should relationships be? How do you know when you've crossed that line of, you're going to the tractor for milk? You're trying to have a relationship with someone where it's just never going to work. So in all of those things, Sam, I'm going to ask, do you relate to any of that? Like in your past relationships, do you find yourself asking that question? Or, things are great at the beginning and then they sort of fall off a cliff from the thrill of victory to the agony of defeat?
Yeah, you know what? It was the average amount of time I would be dating someone was around 4 months. And then after 4 months, it just starts to dissipate. Maybe because of the thrill is no longer there, or maybe we're just getting comfortable with each other, or maybe we just want to keep that thrill going, and that's just who we are and what we do, I suppose. But it's a little difficult. Now, when I talk to women, I have them wait 3 to 4 months before we start dating, because that's usually the average time span. So.
Yeah. So you bring up a great, perfect support for one of my Happy 88 tools that is in my book, in chapter 4, Out of Heartbreak into Relationships in 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. And that tool is called the Pregnancy Model of Relationships. The Pregnancy Model of Relationships, which says that in every romantic relationships, the first trimester is the golden one, where you're like newly, we talk till 3 a.m. It's like we've known each other our whole lives. It's so I have butterflies, and we create this unrealistic expectation, as you are saying, Sam, for the entire relationship to be like that. And you're setting your relationship up for failure, because that is the norm for the first trimester. You're supposed to have dolphins, butterflies in your feeling. You're supposed to bring flowers. You're supposed to wine and dine in romance. You're supposed to have that wonderful feeling where just sunshine every day. And in that first trimester is usually too when you make promises that you can't keep, because you really don't need that person. You don't know that person. It's not that you don't need, you don't really know that person, because in the first 3 months, the first trimester or first 4 months, as you're saying, you put your best foot forward. You're showing your best side. You're in a marketplace showing not your bruised side of your fruit, but the most, the most colorful, bright, positive, the best of you. So the first trimester will have that thrill of victory. And then what happens in the second trimester is reality sets in. It's not that they're lying to you. People like blame people for, well, he was not always like that, right? You've heard that before, right? That's not how he was at the beginning, and of course not, because it's best foot forward, the glow of pregnancy in that first trimester. The second trimester is the time where your ankles swell and you lose the glow and you get sick and you feel gross. And that's reality. You get to know someone who that's who they are. So you turn the fruit over and you see that side. And that side is part of them. It's not the dominant part of them, but it is a part of them. And hopefully you found a piece of fruit, or if you want a dog, you find a dog who is 88% fabulous. And that is the third trimester. So the first trimester is the best, the second trimester is the worst, and then the third trimester is when you ask the question, is there enough good for me to focus on and to compliment and to appreciate and to be grateful for 80% of the time? I used to say 88. I brought that number down because it is impossible to find a 100% person that you're going to be 100% happy with. 80% happy with that person is good for a partner. And however long that lasts, some people say, well, they were 80% for a while and they're not 80% anymore. So then I will ask that person to, for 30 days, just focus on their good stuff. And every time your mind wants to go to something that you don't like, you choose to focus on the part that you do like. That will sometimes bring a person back to that place where they see that person not in the second trimester only, but in the wholeness of who they are with 80% good. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So my thing is, the reason why I think I don't want you to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not saying that your strategy of just getting to know people as friends for the first 3 months is not a bad one. However, the movement from friend zone into romance zone is not an easy one. Some people can do it. Huh?
I said it's not.
Right. Okay. There you just proved my point. And now people will say, but Dr. Marissa, you don't live this. And it's true. That's why the name of my show is Take My Advice. I'm not using it. The feeling of the butterflies, the feeling of the romance, the feeling of that initial first trimester, you cannot get that feeling from any other relationship in the world. You can't get it from friends. You can't get it from your parents. You can't get it from your kids. You can't get it from your cousins. You can't get it anywhere except in a romantic relationship. So why rob yourself of those really good, high-flying, butterfly-making feelings? So I would suggest to you is, instead of friend zoning for the first 3 months in the first trimester, is go forth and have those great feelings the first trimester, understanding now that we've talked about it, that is the first trimester. And when that loving feeling goes away, instead of, oh, they're not the one. Oh, I thought they were the one, but they're not the one. And how could they? Don't blame them. Just go, okay, we're naturally into the second trimester. And so let's just enjoy finding out the reality of who they are. Is it that bad? And how much of this do I have to take responsibility for? If I knew that I really wanted somebody ambitious, then why would I continue to date someone who I found who's unemployed, who's not looking for a job, who doesn't have any aspirations? And you pretty much can tell that from the first date. So why did you keep dating someone in the first trimester? Because you had the hots for them, because they were sexy, because they pushed your lust button. But that, then call it what it is. Two ships that meet in a lustful ocean for one night. So, but if you are looking for a relationship, as Don Miguel Ruiz says, if you want a dog, don't get a cat. So be clear, right? Because I know that that's something that you want. We talked about that at another show at another time, Sam. You want someone who's like you in those ways, right? So you do, let's say you do meet them. You go to a real estate mixer or a chamber of commerce mixer. You see someone that catches your eye and you feel a little bit of a jolt in your solar plexus, and you go up and you exchange numbers and you feel the thrill of them saying yes, and you go out to dinner and you go to a movie, and it's great that first 4 months, and enjoy it, revel in it, feel alive with it. Appreciate it. And then when they start showing some things that are imperfect about them, as you do, say, okay, we're in the second trimester and let's see, right, what things balance out all the fabulous things, and then use your own focus to talk yourself down off the wall. Oh my God, they're late again, you know, and that will either tell you that this is something that you cannot put up with, right? Or it's going to be something that you go, you know what, this is going to go in the 20% bucket and I can live with it. I just, you know, plan for it. It's not a reflection of how disrespectful they're feeling towards me. That's just who they are. Do you see the difference in the way you look at the problem? Sam? Do you see the difference in the way you approach their flaws?
I learned to be a little more accepting.
Okay.
We all have flaws.
That's right.
It's just you're able to deal with them or
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. So if you can ride out the second trimester, which is the other side of the fruit, the third trimester is the most important. The third trimester is the one that is, do I lease with the intention to buy? Do I make a exclusive commitment for the third trimester to see if this is something that might last as someone to have children with, to, you know, to attempt to grow old with, to do things together. And that is the decision making. So don't make a decision in the second one. You've been making a decision in the second trimester. Ride it out just a bit longer. 1 month. And do that exercise looking only at the things that are good. Then the third trimester, then you can make that decision then if it is 80% easy and only 20% hard. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. So that is the answer to the question of the day, which is how hard do relationships have to be? I hope you understood some of that. Here's the challenge. Every single relationship that has not resulted in marriage or a commitment or a chapter longer than that 9-month process, can you stop blaming them for the demise of the relationship? Can you take responsibility and just say, we were not a match? That is Advanced Relationship Academy, which is not easy to do because we're so used to, you know, you go home for the holidays. Well, what happened to that person? What happened to that person? And, oh, you know, he showed his true colors, and, oh, he wasn't what he said he was. And, oh, he stopped, blah, 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 blah. And that's BS. That's a belief system that keeps you not being in good relationships. If you can say, we just weren't a match. Can you imagine what life would be like if everybody said that a relationship that didn't work was not the other person's fault and just said it just wasn't a match? I'm not, and this applies to romantic and non-romantic relationships. All right. Sam, I always run out of time. Thank you so much for tuning in. For the winner of Bye Bye Miss American Pie tickets to the Saban Theater, Don McLean, go to my website, drmarissa.life, put in Bye Bye Miss American Pie, and you will win those tickets. This is Dr. Marissa. Always, it's all about balance. Peace in, peace in, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. See you tomorrow with Christian Ganier.